Hello, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I hope your day is going well. Today is my first of the 25 days of Christmas. It's finally time to start the Christmas cards and Christmas projects. With that being said, if you have something you'd like to see for Christmas, bags, boxes, cards, certain styles, you need a size, but you can't figure out how to get to that dimension of the box or bag, send me an email. Let me know what you'd like to see. I am still open to the suggestions. We got 25 days of stamping and projects to go, so lots of time yet. So if you have something you'd like to see, please send me an email. I love to hear from you. Also, below you'll find a link to my online store. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so if you see product here you would like and you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, please consider using me. My email address is below, so you can send me an email as to what you'd like to see for Christmas. Also is a link to my Facebook group. We'd like to have you join that if you can. We're hoping to build that group up so we can do some fun projects and online group stamping and games and whatever. It's also where am going to be posting information about sales and stuff that come up throughout the weeks with Stampin' Up! So with all that being said, let's get started and let me show you what we're going to be making. Of course, we're using the Storybook Gnome paper. We're going to be using the Kindest Gnomes stamp set, and we are using the Kindest Gnomes dies. Now, I am not going to be doing a lot of stamping today. We're only stamping actually one thing. We're stamping our sentiment, which is Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We're going to be die cutting most of our stuff, and I'm going to show you what we're going to be die cutting, because this paper, I've stuck it down here in the back. There's a die that cuts out this house, and these two, you see where I've already been cutting out, this one and this one here, these guys, they all cut out with a die. So I decided to use the die cuts today to make this card instead of stamping. I'm sure I'll be making something with stamping with this soon, but the die cuts just lend themselves to this card so well. And I'm going to show you the card now. This is the card. It fits a standard envelope, and it opens up facing down, and it stands up like this. I'm going to hold it up so you can actually see it. But it sits down like that. And it should stand perfectly. Sometimes you have to give it a little tweak. But anyhow, it's like this. And on the back, it says our symbols, our Merry Christmas. So this is the card we're going to make, and I'm going to show you how to make it. Now, this is acetate. It's a heavy, Stampin' Up! Acetate. If you don't want to use acetate on this card, you don't have to. And I'm going to show you a sample. It's a mock-up I made because this folds up. Now, this does go in a standard envelope. But with that being said, there is a lot of bulk in this card. It will cost you extra postage. I would recommend using a larger envelope if you're going to mail it. And if you're not good, if you're just going to be handing it to somebody, then, you know, you can just use a smaller one if you wanted. But a larger one, and then put some cardstock or something in between to give it a little extra support when it goes through the postage. It will cost a little extra money to send this one, but I thought it was so adorable. It's just a great one for setting up. Okay, so that's what we're making today. I'm going to show you the mock-up. Now this is, if you wanted to make this with, you probably wouldn't do two colors. This one's just my mock-up here. I was working on the design of this. So you could put a piece here and you could decorate the front of it as well. And then it could open up this way. Okay. Now, I got the inspiration for this card from Sam Colcutt with Mixed Up Paper Crafts. She's out of the UK. She did a card similar to this. Her measurements, I think her card was either 6x6 or 5x7 card. But the inspiration came from her. She had made a card with a dolphin. And she had it jumping, so it jumped out like through waves using this design. but this is my own design, different dimensions than hers, but that's where the inspiration came from. So thank you, Sam, for the inspiration. So let's get started. I'll set that aside. And I will get our pieces here. I've cut many of the pieces already, just to save us some time. And I'm looking for one special piece. I'd set it off to the side. This is my acetate. The acetate measures 5.5 by 4. Make sure I've got the dimensions right on this. It's 5.5 by 4.25 high. So, and try not to get too many fingerprints on it when you're using it. You can just take an alcohol wipe or some sanitizer or something with alcohol and clean it off before you use it. And we will probably do that with this. I'm going to set that back over here so I don't lose it. And then you see I cut out some pieces here. And I've cut out some other pieces too, but we'll get those in a minute. This is our background paper, and I'm going to show you how I've achieved that, our back. But we're going to start with the base of the card first and do the scoring. So the base of this card, I've actually put numbers on here. There's so many small pieces that I actually marked these. So this one's 5.5 by 5 3/4, and we're going to score that one. And we are going to score this on the 5 3/4 side. Make sure I've got the right side. 5 3/4. And we are going to score at 4 1/4. Just like a regular card, only it's shorter. Okay? And then there is another piece that is 5.5 by 1.5. This is a piece that we're going to be laying over the top of the acetate in a little bit. That worked. Then we have the 3 pieces that make our stairs. I call them stairs. First, they're all 5 7/16. Yeah, 5 7/16. So this does not have 16ths on it. But if you're looking at, just so you know, if you're not used to counting 16ths, I know a lot of people are not. You know where an 1/8 is and a 1/4 is. But if you count every single line, 7/16 is the one just before the 1/2 inch. And the reason for this is you need to make sure that this card, all these layers, stay inside the boundary of your base. So they're all 5 7/16, and this one's by 3.5. And the 3.5 one, you're going to score on the shorter, on the 3.5 inch side. You're going to score at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 3 inches. Then there's next piece. It's 5 7/16 by 3 inches. You're going to score at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 2.5. And the next one is 2.5 inches wide. Same before, it's 5 7/16. And that's 1 or 1/2 inch, 1 and 2. We're just slowly getting smaller as we go. And I think that is going to be all the scoring for now. So first thing we need to do is grab our bone folder and fold all these pieces. And you really have to make sure that you get these folded really well, because this is what makes your card stand up. Once I figured out this card, it went together quite quickly. I was really surprised. But I had to, what took the longest was me to figure out the dimensions I needed. Now this is the one that does not have a fold, and I'll show you that in a second. So the first thing we're going to do is attach our acetate. grab that acetate. And mine is a little on the dirty side. And I didn't bring an alcohol wipe in with me, did I? Yes, I did. I've just grabbed a little alcohol wipe. I'm going to grab a paper towel, set this on. And I'm just going to take and rub the alcohol. You're going to have some, and you can do this afterwards too. But you want to try to make sure you don't have anything on this. If it's fresh out of the pack and you've kept your fingers off of it, then it won't be too bad. But you can do this after you've made the card. I know mine needs a little wipe, but you just have to be careful not to get it on the paper. That looks better. So we'll try not to touch it as little as possible, but it's hard to do. So what we're going to do first is you need to use tear and tape. And you need to put tear and tape all over the base of this card. And I mean, you need to hold down the acetate. And it's about 5 strips, roughly. Let's get rid of that real quick before I get it all over. And I'm going to peel these all back. Then you're going to take your acetate and you're going to lay it on your card. So you're up to the top of your card and maybe just a smidge over. Make sure it's square on the sides. Then you're going to take this and fold into it like that. Then you're going to take this and rub it and make sure that there's no bubbles. You can actually see the, I don't know if you can, but I can see the air pockets. You want to make sure that acetate sticks in there and doesn't come out. Okay. And this is where this little 1.5 by 5.5 piece, I'm going to cover this acetate. So I don't see it. A lot of it is going to be covered by these, but you can't use glue to hook these in. You'd have, if you go directly on the acetate with these, what you can do, you'd have to use the tear and tape clear across. And I found it looked nicer. I thought it looked a little nicer doing this way, but it's up to you. You can skip this step if you'd like. So we're covering this one just like we did the first time. 5 strips along here. Now, if you're using cardstock to fill in with this, you would be able to skip this step and just use put your cardstock in. And this comes right up. You can see where it's supposed to go because you're just covering that whole piece right there. And then press it down good because make sure your acetate holds it. So there is the base of our card, just like that. Get rid of some of this, and then we'll start building the layers in here. So we'll start with the biggest one. The single piece here is going to be going here, and then these will hook up here. So I'm going to turn it this way so it's a little easier. Grab some glue. Clean off my glue. You know, it's got a glue boogie. So you put the glue, and don't go too heavily on this, just enough to do the job. Not too close to the edges or you'll have glue seeping out. You could use tear and tape with this or seal. I just choose to use glue because it gives me wiggle room. So what you want to do is you want to sort of center this into here, right up to the line inside. And this is why we are just a hair smaller than the paper. As you can see where, try to show you this. I am just a smidge smaller on each side. And that keeps us, so close, but that fold line's perfect. So then you're going to fold this down. You got the two little areas here. This end here. Again, don't get too much glue, just enough to do the job. Hold this down and close your card and press. And now we have our first stair. And we do it again. Except use the right stair. Make sure you grab them in the right order. Hook it right next to, I know it's hard to see, right up to the last one. Make sure your sides are even. And I'm just holding it there for a second. Then we'll fold this down, the two pieces. We'll put glue on this one. And close the card again. Yeah, unfortunately, do have to wait a minute. It's, you don't want it popping apart on you. Now we have two. And the last one. Line this one up, back in there just like that, just like the other one. Just scooch over just a hair. Make sure you're still staying inside your lines. Fold this one like this. And once again, close your card. Okay, so there's your, not need to set. I'm not going to open it again. We're going to leave it just like that. That's what we've got so far. We need to take and work on our pieces to go on top. And what I did, you guys have seen me use this trick before. I'm going to grab a couple blocks to throw over the top of it, set it off to the side, and let it sit and dry. So, what I did for the background of this, I cut a piece of paper. I'll give you the exact dimensions. It is 5 7/16. Back to that 7/16. Oh, excuse me, I have hiccups. Just one moment. It's 5 7/16 by 3 7/8. 3 7/8 is length. And what I did is I picked out, so I made sure I had the trees and stuff all going in the right direction, and a section of paper, because I want to keep this in order as I cut them and put them on the steps going down so they're in the same order. So that's the reason I left it to cut with you. So we're going to start, and we're on the 3 7/8 side we're cutting. And the first piece we need is 2 1/8. So we're going to set that over here. I'm setting it off, just off the screen. I'll bring them back in a minute. The next one we need is 7/16. And like I said, that is the one just before the half. Very small piece. The next one is another 7. Nope. This is what you do when you've got a piece of paper that is really close to the edge and you don't have any place to hang on. I'm going to do it from this side since I don't want to cut it. line up your paper, and hair your paper down. Yeah, you're supposed to do what I say, not what I just did. I missed the paper. Just like that. There's another 7/16. And this one, when you get done, should be, yep. Yeah, it should be 15/16 when you get done. So pretty small measurements there, but so we should be dry enough now, I think, to open it. Yeah, we are. So obviously the big piece is going here. You don't have much of border. It's virtually almost no border whatsoever. And I'll flip this over here so you can see what I'm doing. That's that one. And we're taking the next one. I still got them in the same order I cut them. And this one goes on the front of this one here. Like I said, there's virtually no border on these. Very little. Oop. Squeeze that a little too much. Just one moment. It's one thing with glue, you do have a bit of wiggle room in there. And the next one. Slide that over just a tad. There's the next one. You see where the trees are just coming down? And the last one goes on the last panel here. Just like that. See all of the design there and the trees coming straight down. And we've got our folds in good, just sitting really nicely. Okay, so now to decorate it. I'm going to open my other one up here so I can see how I decorated last time. I did that a few days ago. So besides cutting out our lovely gnomes and their house, I did cut out a bunch of mushrooms. I cut them out of Poppy Parade and Calypso Coral. I cut some grass out of Evening Evergreen. I think by what I was using. I didn't even write that down. Sorry. I'm going to make it a note here. I know you guys want it to be in the instructions what I used. And these are Sahara Sand. Is the stem I made out of these. So I made a bunch of the mushrooms. So this card, once you get putting this together, it goes really fast. So the first thing you need to do is when you're putting your house in, you need to take your house. Anything you put in, you have to test it. You can see he's just coming a tad up over that. Well, for me, I don't have a problem with it coming just a tad over. If you have a problem with it coming just a little over the top of your card, just trim off a tiny, tiny little bit off this. But I don't have a problem with it going over the card, so I'm not going to. You're just going to put a little glue on the bottom. And if you were just if you're mailing it, I would not add more dimension to this. If you were hand carrying this to somebody, you could use dimensionals on it, unless you don't mind paying an extra huge postage price. And we're going to put this gnome here. How far does he stick? Ooh, that's Let's see if he's a little shorter. He's a little shorter. We'll put him in the back. I'm just testing so I don't have stuff really popping out at the top. Like I said, if you're hand carrying this, it might not make any difference to you. He's going on the second step down here. He was on the first, or this house was. And then our other gnome, just putting a little glue on the bottom. I'm going to set her on the bottom one as well. I'm flip this over so you can see where I'm putting her. Him, her, I don't know if it's him or, I don't know. I think gnomes are unisex. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to add some clumps of little mushrooms and leaves. So what I did was, there is a right or wrong side there, and I'll hold these up so you can see them. The mushrooms, you can see the indentation, they die cut really nice. I'm going to flip a bunch of these over. I want 3 of each for now. And there's 2 different sizes stock, large and small. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little dot of glue in the middle of each of these, and then stick these into it so they have a second to dry. And we actually need another small clump for the back of the card. So we'll go ahead and get them ready at the same time here so they can all be drying while we're stamping the back of the card. And I wanted 3 more for that, and I think, oop, I missed a leg here, stem, I should say. I think I want, for the back, I want 2 red and 1 Calypso Coral. I made a few extra. You never know when you need an extra mushroom. We'll do these 2 at the same time. Life is easier when they're all drying at the same time. And the last one. Like I said, these can all dry. We'll just slide them off to the side for a second with the rest of this, because we do need to stamp the back of our card. And this is just a standard 5 by 4 or 5 1/4 by 4. And we're going to use Poppy Parade. Since that's the red I used for the mushrooms, I decided we'll use the same color. It says, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. There we go. Like I said, it was easy stamping on this one. I did not make an envelope for this due to the fact I'm thinking mine might actually go into an envelope box, which I should show you guys how to make. So we'll let that dry and we'll start hooking our mushrooms on. So I want my glue. Oop. I'm going to put a little glue on the back side of my stem, and I'm going to start up here on this one here. And I'm going to put one there. And I'm going to sort of put them at angles a little bit, and then we're going to put a green piece of grass. You know, mushrooms don't grow just, they usually have to have something around them when they grow. Let's grab another Calypso Coral. I'm going to flip this around so you can see it. So I'm just laying them out. Now they grow in every which direction. I want to grab one of these nice green stalks and put a little glue at the bottom. This is grass. And it's going to cover the base of the mushrooms. I'll show this up here. Let's see if I can get it closer. It covers the base of the mushrooms. And one goes right up the middle, but it doesn't matter. And we're going to put another clump down here. Boop. And another red one. And another stalk of grass. I am going to flip this around and show you to you. I can't, unfortunately, show you when I'm trying to glue them on. There. So there's another clump in there. And I wanted a sprig of grass down here by the house. So I'm just going to put it right there. Just right here at the bottom. You can build a scene any way you want. You could cut one of those lovely deer out of that and put a deer in this if you wanted. So there's that part. Let's let that sit for a second. Let's finish the mushrooms on here. These we don't have to. They can be glued. And I'm going to go ahead and let the stems stick off of some of them. And we'll just trim them off when we get done. And we'll just grab some snips and flip those over. Took care of that. And we'll put a little greenery on there too. I think it's sort of just, the green just sort of, in my opinion, helped make the mushrooms look a little nicer. Like that. So that's what the back looks like. And we're going to go ahead and close this up. And put our back on. Now we're just about done, but not quite. When I looked at this, I thought the mushrooms, these little mushrooms needed something. They were just too blah. So I played around using, you know, the white dots that we have, but they didn't look as great on the mushrooms. So I bagged that idea. So then I grabbed some little pearls, and I decided to take the little pearls and put them around on off to the side. You know, it's my dew on the mushrooms. You know, like it's early morning and the mushrooms are all looking out. Got a little dew on them. Sorry, my head's getting in the way. I'm trying to get the mushrooms on there. Get the pearls on the mushrooms, I should say. And put the little pearls there. But you could use other things in here if you wanted. Like I said, you could try the white dots. And there's red ones in there as well. But then I used one big one. This mushroom I did not want to be feeling alone, so I put it over his dot there. So anyhow, this is what's called a tiered pop-up card. I hope you guys will all give it a try. It was a lot of fun to make. I think they're very pretty, especially if you want to give somebody something really special for Christmas. I think this does the trick. So Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget, if you have something you want to see on for the 25 days of Christmas, we've still got 24 more to go. So send me those emails. I will get back to you and try to provide you with what you've requested. So thank you for joining me, and everybody have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.